I lost my Pokemmo Black Nuzlocke, and that's no one's fault but my own. I made mistake after mistake and lost party member after party member. But now I'm back, and I'm going to be going to the Hoenn region. And I have an unethical amount of playtime in this region, so I'm going to prove that I am capable of beating this challenge. Because I'm not going to be beaten by this abomination of a game. I'm going to prove that anyone can beat Pokemmo as a Nuzlocke. And without further ado, let's get right into it. First, we jump out of the moving truck our mom put us in because for some reason, in this world, children are property. We check out our room that we're never going to use ever again, and say hi to our new neighbors. This whole time, I had been thinking about what I wanted to pick as my starter. I knew Mudkip was the best option, but Torchic was my favorite. But I was mashing X during this dialogue, and I accidentally chose Trico. And Trico's probably the worst option, considering he's either weak or neutral to most of the gym leaders in this region. But I didn't feel like making a new account, so I just went with it. We beat the Zigzagoon to death and headed back to the professor's lab. He told us to go fight his kid, and I gave Trico the only name fitting of an unwanted child. And if you couldn't tell, I named him Aiden. If your name is Aiden, I hate you. After some light grinding, we entered our first rival battle. He didn't have any fire-type moves, and I spammed quick attack until it died. After I beat Brendan, I headed back to the lab where we got our first Pokeballs, meaning the challenge has officially started. Now that we had Pokeballs, we headed out to the first route where we got our first encounter, another dog. And I named it in what was admittedly poor taste, again. After some more grinding, I encountered a Zigzagoon I named Rocket. Then I headed to Route 102, where in a route full of bangers, I encountered this. After this worm escaped 4 Pokeballs, I finally caught it. I named it Dusty, hoping it would evolve into the better of its 2 evolutions. I forced Dusty to fight everything on this route until it evolved, and thankfully it evolved into the right one. He gets to stay in the party, for now. Then, when we go to confront our absentee father, he introduces us into his new stepchild. So we are forced to watch him attempt to catch a Pokemon. I'm never going to accept you as family, Wally. I hope you die. Then I went into Wally's house, where I found out he has cancer. My wishes have been answered. On the next route, I caught a Taillow, which is a great encounter for this point in the game. After a hard-fought battle against a Zigzagoon that was using Echoed Voice and almost killed 2 of my Pokemon, we headed into the Petalburg Woods. Then I encountered the Pokemon with the worst ability in the game. An ability that makes it so you can't play the game half the time. This thing's getting sacrificed the moment I need it to be. After a couple trainer battles, we ran into this guy that was looking for shrooms, and we had our first run-in with Team Aqua. And for the first time in human history, someone named Aiden did something productive. Once we exited the woods, this random guy gave us the TM for Bullet Seed, which would come in very handy later because it would allow us to get through the first gym leader's Pokemon Sturdy. Once I got to Petalburg City, I got the TM for Cut and headed to the next route. And that's where I encountered a very valuable Pokemon named Incada, because it evolves into 2 Pokemon as long as you have an extra slot in your party. One of which being Shedinja, which has the ability Wonder Guard, meaning it can't take damage as long as the move isn't super effective. I named him Cavendish and then did some more grinding. I evolved Dusty into their final form. Then, in Whismur Cave, Cavendish died to an Echoed Voice. Cavendish could have been something very good, but they are now dead. And in the end, I didn't even catch the Whismur. After that unfortunate loss, I headed into the first gym, and I tore through all the gym trainers with no problem. Now it was down to the gym leader. She started with her Aeron. It was the only real challenge here, and its Rock Tomb really hurt. And through the power of unregulated drug use, we finally managed to beat it. Now, the rest of our Pokemon are going to be a wash because they are extremely weak to Bullet Seed. Next up was her Nose Pass, when I did a risky move by attacking instead of using a potion or switching. Thankfully, Aiden survived the Rock Tomb on 1 HP. After another turn, I wasn't willing to take any more risks, so I switched into the Slack Off I cut earlier so it could reset Aiden's speed stat, which had been lowered by the Rock Tomb. Slappy the Slack Off got absolutely obliterated by a Rock Tomb, but it served its purpose and allowed Aiden to go in to finish the gym. After the Nose Pass went down, all it took was 1 more Bullet Seed, and I had gotten my first gym badge. Aiden even evolved after the battle. And just like that, the first episode of this new series is over. I'll see you guys next time on the Pokemmo Emerald Nuzlocke.